Well, hi everyone. Today I'm going to do a short little video on working with rests and completing measures with rests. There are a few things though that we do need to talk about before we can do that. So I just wanted to show you that each time signature has an order to the beats. So if there were only 2 counts in a measure, my order would be strong and weak. If I had 3 counts to the measure, my order would be strong, weak, weak. And if there was 4 in the measure, we're talking about 4 things: strong, weak, and the new one in the middle, medium, weak. Those are things you always have to remember. You only have to remember those 3, whether you're in simple time or in the next video, quadruple time. But one of the main important things to remember while you're thinking about rest placement is this little graphic here. I'm just going to make sure that I'm nice and focused in on that. Yeah, it looks like it's not too bad. Okay. The big thing to remember is that a strong beat or a strong person can pick up a weak beat or a weak person. It means that you can combine those 2 together. Just lift this up a little bit. And the other rule is a weak beat is unable to pick up a strong beat. So for instance, if I was talking about strong, weak, medium, something 4 at the top of the time signature, and let's say I had a quarter note here and a quarter note there, but I needed to put rests in here, I could not add the weak and the medium together and put a 2 count rest in there, because the weak cannot pick up the medium to make 2 counts. I would have to put a quarter note rest here followed by a quarter note rest there. The other time you would see a problem, or not, maybe just not a problem, but a little bit of a challenge, is in 3/4 time when you have strong, weak, weak. So let's say our example had a quarter note here in 3/4 time, 3/4 time, quarter note here, and a bracket here asking us to put in 1 rest or 2 rests, whatever amount of rests we need. I could not pick up another weak beat. I just basically tell myself a baby can't pick up another baby because they're very weak. So I would have to, I could not put a 2 count rest, no half note rest in here, no way. Quarter note rest followed by quarter note rests. Now in order to be able to be very successful in writing rests, you also have to know exactly where they need to go in the between the bar lines, not bar lines, I mean on the staff. And in your book there's some really good examples of where they have to be. A quarter note rest cannot touch the top of a staff and it cannot touch the bottom of a staff. An 8th note rest, the little bobble in there needs to be in space 3, and it only goes down to line number 2. If I had a 16th note rest, which is a little further down in here, I would put the first bobble in space 3, the second bobble in space 2, but now you notice that that little line is now going down to the first line of the staff. So be very, very careful. Half note rests always sit on line 3. You draw a rectangle and don't let that rectangle touch line 4. And if I had to do a whole rest, it would hang from line 4 and is not allowed to touch line 3 at all. In the examples that are here in the book on page 25, there are 3 correct and 1 incorrect, and we need to decide why they're incorrect. So in your very first example, if you had a look at it, if we are in 2/4 time and I had a strong beat followed by a weak beat, I was given an 8th note, At the beginning, I was given an eighth note at the end. What happened to make it incorrect was that this beat was not finished off to make one count, and that beat was not finished off to make one count. The writer just decided, oh, well, I've got one count here, I just need one count in the middle. Well, technically, yes, but you cannot combine the parts of beats to make a bigger rest in the middle. That's a little tricky thing. And so basically that's kind of happened all the way down in the incorrect portions. I'm just going to flip the page over here. So I started, I'm just going to make sure, hang on for a second, I'm just going to make sure that I'm focused in nicely for you. Just going to lift this up a little bit because, oh my goodness, these camera things. And I'm by myself. I don't have a cameraman or a woman here with me. So I'm just going to kind of zoom in. If you can, yeah, I think we can see that pretty good. There I go. I'm just going to press my lock on the focus. Hopefully that's good. Okay. So in my very first example, and your first example, I'm kind of doing it with you. I know that the C stands for 4/4 time, common time. That means I have 4 beats, strong, weak, medium, weak, and each of those beats is a quarter note. So what I'm going to do, they've given me the dotted eighth note. I need to finish off this first beat before I can carry on, because it's not complete. So I throw in the 16th. A 16th plus the dot, which is a 16th, is a half a count, and here's my other half a count. So then I do this. I am done with that one. Then I carry on, and I realize that a weak cannot add up with a medium. So sometimes I'll even do this. Nah, can't do that. Right, I'll just put it like a no-go. But I do know that a medium can add up with a weak. So then what I end up doing is, okay, a weak can't pick anybody else up, so that quarter note has to be represented all by himself by the rest. And then the medium adding to the weak becomes a half note rest. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. So moving on to the end of that measure, we are given an eighth note at the end. I still write strong, weak, medium, weak. Like I said, I do it on the bottom because I like to put who gets what count. I need more room. So here's my quarter notes. I know that at the end here, this guy does not equal a quarter note. So I need to put the rest first to help make the quarter note. Then I can go, whoo, finish with this fella. Back to the beginning of the measure. My rules that I remember are a strong can pick up a weak. So, yay, I'm going to put a plus sign there, and I'm going to put my 2 count rest. And then I know that these guys are done, and all I'm left is with a medium. Now somebody could say, Kathy, how come you couldn't put a dotted half note rest? Because that would make 3 counts as well. Well, I'm going to say the general rule in simple time is that you cannot dot any rest. So remember that, no dots allowed on rests. Of course, you'll see dots on notes, but do not ever do that with the rests. And so hopefully that will help you as you get going through all of these. I did want to point out, and I think I'm just going to have to focus in my camera for this next page, just the one question. So I'm just going to just focus my camera, sorry, slightly down. Woo! Not making you seasick. Hopefully not. And I'll focus in on it. I think that's good. Don't want this to be too long of a video. But we have a few things to do. So here it says, rewrite the following rhythms, beaming the notes to show the basic beat. Add in the bar lines. So I know that I need 3 half notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting smiles under things that equal a half note. That's my first thing. Or sometimes people just circle them. I actually put a smile and a circle in a couple of spots. So 2 quarter notes equal a half note. That's 1. 8th, 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 8th equals a half note. That's 2. 8th, 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 8th equals another half note. That's 3. Poof, bar line. I know that a triplet 8th equals 1 count, followed by a 1 count rest. 1 plus 1, of course, is 2. And over in here, same thing. 1 plus these 2 guys equals 2. And then we're ended up with a half note at the end. So when I start writing these out and rewriting them, part of the exam, if you ever did an exam with this, is that they would ask you to make sure you beamed everything properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to beam 4 eighth notes together, and then I'm going to beam again another 4 together. Over in here, I am going to beam these 2 together. Under the triplet, I'm going to beam those 3 together. So there's a few beaming things that have to happen. And that should make things easier if you beam in a beat.